Anyways, here's Wonderwall.
I fucking
It's
love
so
that.
good. So good.
Welcome back. Welcome everybody to another edition of One in Rome with Michael and Matt. We've got some special stuff for you here tonight. First of all, shout out to the one person in the chat who's probably me in the comment section. By StreamYard.
Shout out to Nine Realms Publishing. How y'all doing?
Outstanding. We have a second one. Is that you, Matt? Are you in the chat now too?
It's not me. It's not.
Oh wow. Kel Surprise. Well, whoever you are, thanks for listening in. Tonight we are doing a Why Rome special. I think is what we'd called it. With my glorious thumbnail.
It's beautiful.
Yes. But so yeah, tonight's show we're going to be talking about why exactly is Rome so important? Because there have been, well, I shouldn't even say there have been. There is currently a massive trend on TikTok, and we're down to 0 views, 0 people out there. We're killing it right now. This is awesome.
Shout out to the replay gang.
Yeah, shout out to the replay gang. 100%. So there's currently a whole TikTok trend on girls asking, oh, Miranda's here in the chat. First time live viewer. Miranda's is a person of interest here. We've been talking here for about the past month behind the scenes, talking some Rome stuff. And so yeah, she's actually become a pretty big fan of the show. She was saying that she was listening to a whole bunch of things live, or not live, like listening to our replays. And yeah, so welcome, thanks, Miranda. Welcome to our very lively chat.
Let us know if we can improve anything, what you like, what you don't like.
What would improve things, Matt, are better hosts. We're awful at this.
Well, yeah. That would go away.
Somewhat.
Particularly better co-hosts.
Matt, you're a great co-host. You do good things. You go and you share the screen and you press all the buttons that I screw up. So, anyways, as I was saying, there is a whole TikTok movement going on right now where women are asking the important men in their lives, whether it's their boyfriends, their husbands, fiancés, dads, brothers, if they think about Rome. And if so, or I should say the Roman Empire, but really it's all of Rome, right? So the response has flabbergasted the female TikTok community as they are finding out that all of these important men in their lives, they don't just think about Rome. No, they think about Rome on a day-to-day basis to like a weekly basis, and they are utterly confused. So we've got a few clips here that we've taken the liberty of getting to you, and I'm very proud of myself. I took some initiative and did some editing. So enjoy. Let's
I'm going to ask you again. How often do you think about the Roman Empire?
At least 2 to 3 times a day.
What do you think about?
Well, when I'm driving on the road, I think, man, we went from cobblestones to asphalt. So smooth. So much smoother.
What were you telling me about a cave?
Oh, yeah. In the Dead Sea caves, they found 4 very well-preserved Roman swords. It's pretty cool. I was all excited.
And you just think about this all day?
Yeah.
they actually did find 4 very well preserved. They actually did find 4 very well preserved Roman swords. In I believe it's Israel, right? Like, let me.
Mm-hmm. Or was it Jordan? Yeah, let's look.
It's Dead Sea region. Whatever. Point is,
Awesome.
they
I know,
did
like
find.
both of us are now thinking about those swords.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. You know, like, but yeah. So, I mean, obviously, that's one big reason why people still think about Rome is because even though it was gone, it's been gone, sadly, for millennia at this point. 1453, R.I.P. Even though it's been gone for as long as it has been, we are still uncovering new discoveries about Rome. We're still finding new artifacts. We're still finding new, ruins and stuff like that. I think that they even found, and this isn't exactly Roman, but they found a Bronze Age city under. I want to say I don't think it was Syracuse. It was somewhere in Greece that had a Roman, like a Roman era town had been built over it. Oh, hold on, here's that story. I said, how about you play that video? Let's play that.
Yeah, cool looking swords. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, look at how beautiful. Like I know that. Oh, look, an ad. While we're waiting for this to go, I know that like when you.
Get fresh with Mentos gum.
Plus, it comes in a durable
goodness.
paperboard.
I feel like we should be getting fucking paid advertisement for this shit.
Where's
like
the profit sharing?
Bottle that can weather pretty much anything. I had to throw it at a polar bear last week.
Oh my god!
During our survey,
look at
we
these
found
dudes
in
thinking
a
about
small
Roman
cave.
swords.
Dude, I'd be ecstatic too. Like, look at how.
4
Pause that real quick.
Roman swords.
While we
inside-
have rewind a little bit so that we can get those swords on the screen. So like when it comes down to finding preserved swords, I realize that like you to the common person you'd see this. Miranda's like, that is so cool. Yeah, it is. Because like the swords do not preserve well like this normally, like unless it's in like a burial ground or something like that. So like the fact that you have 4 swords that have been stored, and I believe the article stated that it was a cave that was likely used as a hideout for like zealots, right?
Oh
They
Akbar rebellion or something, or
exactly, like they had been stockpiling these Gladium Hispania. A few of them even look like they might be Spatha. But point is, like it's really impressive to see stuff like this come about, and that's not even the first ancient Roman discovery that we've had in the past
Roman
year.
swords
Yeah, go on ahead, play.
inside a niche, very beautifully preserved.
Yeah, look at that. Dude, look at the look on that guy's face. I'd be the exact same fucking way. My name's gonna be written in a fucking history book.
Yeah. You can just pull that out like that. That's incredible.
My God.
We started research.
I like the woman.
assemblage
She's just
of,
like,
we started research the assemblage of swords, and now we understand that the swords are from the 2nd century CE.
2nd century.
Probably they were hidden in the cave by rebels, Jewish rebels, during the Bar Kokhba
There
revolt.
you go.
And we think
2nd
that
century
they were
CE, this is around the
stolen
time
from
of
a Roman
the
army
Flavian,
unit, or were
wars
collected from
in
the
Israel and
battlefield
Judea,
by the Jewish
the
rebels.
Judean revolts.
Wow. Look at that.
So keep in mind, they weren't.
Yep.
Yeah, you're not important, lady. You can get off the screen.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, no, like that's definitely for one thing, is because despite the fact that it is gone, we're still finding new shit out about the Roman Empire on the daily. Like, And for all of the stuff we know, there's an even greater amount that we don't know. Things that have been lost through time, loss of documentation, and just distance between the our contemporary period and theirs. Like it's funny. Miranda and I were actually talking in a chat a while, I think yesterday, where she had mentioned that it's one of these things where the Romans wouldn't necessarily write down everything like something that they just assume that was just such a part of their day-to-day lives. They assumed it would continue to do so, and as a result, we have like a whole bunch of Roman artifacts. We have no fucking clue what they are. We have no idea what they are, what they've been were used for, and they're not written about in any document. So we're just kind of sitting here scratching our heads going, what is this? So yeah. Let's take a look at another one of these great videos. I've got a few clips to go through this evening, and I'm hoping that between these clips we should have enough to do a whole show and get into some side tangents as we talk about what these guys are talking about. So here's the next one.
Ask you a question.
Okay.
How often do you think about the Roman Empire?
How often do I think about the Roman Empire?
Yeah.
Pretty consistently.
Wait, you're kidding.
No.
Like how many?
Because I'm big into martial arts.
No, but like that's how.
He's a
often,
fighter.
How often?
Yeah. Do you think about the Roman Empire?
Like a number weekly?
You think about it weekly?
For sure. Every time I fight
This is
people,
crazy.
I think about like walking into the Coliseum. And it's like, if this is a fight to the death and people
Based.
are around and cheering, like, I have to win. I think about it constantly.
Is that the only way that you think about it, or do you think about like other things?
No, I think about society too, and politics, and like how corrupt our, the upper portion of our society
See,
is.
women want
How
men who think
the
about
lower
Rome.
portion is
They just
always
don't
kinda picked
have
up
to
the
know
pieces.
that we're thinking about it.
I mean, he breaks it down in a minute.
I haven't thought about the Roman Empire in never.
What kind of trick is this?
This is not a trick. I'm shocked. I tricked myself.
We
No,
have
like
to,
there's this trend of all these women asking their boyfriends, husbands, how much they think about the Roman Empire, and I just thought like this wasn't real.
no, like men, I think to our core, we're warriors. We have to be ready for battle at all times, and the Roman Empire is all about battle. Common sense.
What? I am
Common
shook.
sense.
All right, so number 2, the military legacy of Rome is pretty unmatched and unparalleled. I mean, literally, in modern warfare doctrine and everything, you have this term, bellum Romanum, war as the Romans would wage it, which is total war. And they are incredibly influential, and to a degree, the guy's not wrong. There is a natural instinct in most men, I'd say, to fight, and that warrior spirit of Rome that allowed them to dominate the European peninsula and what for centuries, actually, like literally millennia, because the founding is in the late 8th century BC, right? It's mid to late 700s. And the western part of the empire falls, I believe, in I want to say 435. Fall of, I should know this, but we're 476. My bad. But either way, so Western Empire falls in 476 CE, and the fall of Constantinople is in 1453, literally a generation, not like barely a generation away from the discovery of the Americas by the Europeans.
Incredible.
Like, that's fucking mind blowing.
Yeah.
They're like, imagine if they had hung around for another 30 plus years, and you had Holy Roman, and like you have not Holy Roman, those guys are pretenders. You have like East Roman cataphracts getting to the gunpowder age and stepping foot on the Americas.
In a way, we can thank Rome for the discovery of the Americas, because the whole reason, my understanding is the whole reason we started looking for Western trade routes is because the Eastern ones collapsed. It's a direct consequence of the fall of Constantinople, right?
You're not wrong. Like to that extent, yeah, absolutely, Matt.
Thank you, Rome.
You know,
even in your fall, you serve us.
Correct. Like Eastern Rome, the Eastern trade routes into Asia and everything like that had once been controlled by the Eastern Roman Empire became controlled by the Ottomans, which were a Muslim empire. And at this point of time, you've got the Reconquista in Spain, and the Catholic Church is probably the most powerful entity in Western Europe. I think would be fair, more than fair to say.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't want to do business with the Muslims, so they're going to go and do business elsewhere. They're not going to stick around with the Ottomans. And that was
like India without having to go through Ottoman territory that had
absolutely
converged.
That was Columbus's whole pitch, was we can get to India by sailing west. So yeah, like even in their fall, the influence, I think that's a great way to put it, Matt, is like the influence that they had even in their complete fall, allows for the age of discovery. It's so incredible, the amount of influence. And like, we're not even talking about like basic infrastructure yet. Like, and none of the clips that I had really went into that much, but like, there's a reason why there's an expression, all roads lead to Rome. Is the Romans built 3/4 of the infrastructure that allowed for trade across Western Europe and into the East, and everything was tailored to be accessible by the legion, and the legion marched from Rome, and so everything, that was the focal point. Let's see. Miranda's saying that was a cool battle. Which one? What battles did we talk about, Matt?
That's funny. Yeah, I don't remember us mentioning a battle.
It's all good.
You mean the Siege of Constantinople?
Oh, Siege of Constantinople was it is a great battle, and
yeah,
10-1. The final, the Constantine the 11th. Mehmed II. Yeah, Mehmed. Like, Mehmed II is cool and all, but it's all about Constantine the 11th Palaiologos, or Constantine the 12th Palaiologos, I think, actually, who was not afraid to go down with the ship and gave a beautifully rousing speech to his soldiers and led them into a final charge, knowing damn well what was going to happen. Great way to go out. All right. So let's see. What do we have here?
Babe.
Oh, get out of here.
How often do you think about the Roman Empire?
More than you believe.
Like, how often?
Mom, watch it. I think about Nero and Caligula both.
Like how often?
Like daily or weekly?
No, I'm asking you, Art.
Interesting thing thinking about.
Like how often?
At least once a week.
For real.
At least once a week. That's pretty dope.
Why?
I just told you.
So effectively, what this guy is saying, he thinks about Rome.
They did some cool stuff.
Oh, we've been joined by an Aldous.
Hey,
what up, man? You've missed out on some good stuff. Oh, and Professor Hayteen. He actually Professor Hayteen, if you guys haven't subscribed to his channel, highly recommend. He's been doing a lot of comic book reviews. In fact, he is the first person to do an official review of SPQR's Bizarre Adventure, my JoJo parody manga with Roman history. So
hail and well met. We need more people reviewing. There's a lot of people making comics, and we need more people reviewing comics. You are a necessary part of this ecosystem, sir.
Yep. And then, as you said, we've got Aldous there as well. Always fun seeing Aldous around. But yeah, so like effectively, this guy is talking about, he thinks about Nero and Caligula, which means that he's thinking about the orgies and the depravity, and there was definitely a lot of that in ancient Rome. Lots of everyone just sleeping around and everything like that. I think is what's the joke? The Greeks invented orgies, Romans added women to them, or something like that. Like,
yeah,
all this just says garbage.
Yeah.
Oh, we are going through the garbage bin today. Oh man, all this is gonna be so mad at the end of this episode. Oh, we've got a special surprise, buddy. You know what's surprising though? We haven't had a Corey show up yet. Corey's actually been like really good about being like the first in the chat on our shows recently, and we do owe him a Zenobia special. But with all of the silliness that's been going around with TikTok, with like girls going, "Do you think about the Roman Empire?" I was just like, yeah, no, like we need to capitalize on this. But you know what, Matt? Let's pose out the question. What do you think about when you think about Rome? Because you and I both talk about a lot of stuff. But like, what do you think about with Rome?
Oh boy. Well, once there was a dream that was Rome.
Okay.
And
okay. Quote Gladiator to me. All right.
Yeah. If you ever spoke its name above a whisper, it would disappear. But yeah, honestly, there's a lot to. There's something about Rome that feels like an idea and not just a bunch of names and dates. And I think 100%. A lot of that has to do with all of Europe and beyond, all of Russia. Russia thinks of itself as the inheritors of the Byzantine Empire. I was just learning yesterday. I was listening to a podcast series about them trying to retake Constantinople for basically all of the 19th century.
Yeah, not inaccurate. Well, yeah, they saw themselves as for a very long time. Russia saw themselves as like that whole region was like, we are the protectorate against the Ottoman incursion into southeastern Europe.
And that's, I think it's really fascinating that. Honestly, it's one of the most interesting things about Rome is that everybody could be Roman. So many people did that. In a way, it can't die because like almost every modern nation state that you can think of has at some point thought of itself as and modeled itself on Roman principles self-consciously.
Oh, 100%. Well, it was like the power play of the 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries was to like compare
Who could
yourself
claim it
to Rome.
better than your neighbor? Yeah.
Yeah, and Aldous is putting up Marcus Aurelius,
Good stuff.
engineering, applied mechanics, Cicero, Cato, and on.
Yeah,
Uh,
those are good reasons.
Crazy Matt has joined the chat. Hail to Star Killer. We've been trolling Arrogant Ape here because Arrogant Ape got very annoyed at the Merrick Ahsoka theories with him potentially being Star Killer, and so they revealed a new bad guy that's working with Thrawn that's got his face covered, and so I went and I tagged him and I was like, "Hey, look, Ape, it's gonna be Star Killer," and then Ape was not happy about that, and so I
Wait, is he? So you're a Star Killer enjoyer.
Oh, I love Star Killer.
Yeah,
I love
do too.
Force Unleashed. I loved those games. I frequently go back and play Ultimate Sith Edition when I have the time. But like, yeah, Crazy Mad and I have been kind of trolling Ape about it.
Nice.
Everyone is Star Killer. That's right. I put up the I got like the screenshot of the episode from the CW's Flash with the "No, Barry, you're not the Flash. We are the Flash." And I like crossed out the Flash and put in Star Killer, and then placed Galen Merrick's face over Iris's. It was good. I'm proud of myself. Sorry for the pivot into Star Wars. But
so why do you think about Rome? It is now.
Oh man,
yeah.
I think about Rome. So like I've always been a big fan of like military history. Like Iliad was my bedtime story, but I think that the big thing that always brings me back to thinking about Rome was one of my first history books, and I don't mean like a textbook or anything like that, was this book called Caesar's Legion by Stephen Dando Collins. And like literally every freaking day I think about the opening chapter in this book where Collins breaks down one of the battles in Gaul, I think, where Caesar and his men are outnumbered, and it's looking bad. So Caesar gets off his horse, gets a scutum, draws his sword, and charges towards the enemy missiles.
Gosh.
And leads his men and turns a loss into a win. And that shit sticks with me. Like I think about it all the damn time. Additionally, like, recently I've been doing a lot more research into the later periods of Imperial Rome. From the 3rd century crisis, you've got figures like Aurelian, who, Aurelian's the last person to bring Rome back to its might and glory. He brings everything under, and it's a really interesting what if. Everyone talks about what if Alexander the Great hadn't died? Well, the real fact of the matter is that if Alexander the Great hadn't died, it wouldn't have mattered because his army wouldn't have followed him anywhere. Like he had broken the bond between him and his men. I think that he would have actually been in like a bad spot if he had lived. There likely would have he would have had to raise a new army, and I don't think they would have been near as effective as his Macedonian phalanx. But with Aurelian, there is a genuine argument of what would have happened. Aldous puts it out in the chat. The successors would have killed. I'm a firm believer that the Diadochi killed Alexander. I'm a firm believer that he was poisoned, and I know that recent scientists believe that Alexander actually didn't die when the record said he did, because they talk about how his body doesn't decay and everything. But this is not an uncommon descriptor for important people to try and like give them some last minute propaganda. I don't think that it was literal. I do genuinely believe that Alexander was killed. His generals were fed up with him. They didn't like that he had adopted all these Eastern customs, which he had ironically done, in my opinion, to better rule over them. I don't think for one moment he genuinely abandoned his Greco-Macedonian roots. But yeah, like I think that they were just India was the last straw, and they wanted to get rid of Alexander because his ambition would be their undoing. And like, this is not the first time that you had his Diadochi, his generals, trying to effectively consolidate his win. And like literally, they try to do this before Gaugamela. Parmenion, who at this point is dead, tries to be like, hey, you should take Darius's offer. He's offering something very generous. If I were you, I would take that deal. And Alexander says, I would take that deal too if I were Parmenion, but I'm Alexander. And like that kind of attitude terrified them because he didn't see a limitation. But anyways, Aldous does say we need to do a show on Alesia. Absolutely. There will come a day.
Yeah.
There will come a day where we do a show on the Battle of Two Walls. Like, it's fucking incredible. It is probably one of the greatest master strokes in military history. I would say that if I were to rank like pure genius in military battle, and what have you, if I were to rank like a top 10, number one would, and I hate to give it to him because he's a Carthaginian heathen, but Battle of Cannae, the ability to perfectly execute like the double envelopment is so rare, and he's the first official account of pulling it off. Then number 2 would be Alesia. 3 would probably either be Gaugamela or Austerlitz. Either one would be good, I think. Like those would be like my top 3 or 4. And then 5. Did I say I said 2 would be Alesia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
These are good.
Like Alesia is fucking incredible, and then like after Gaugamela or Borodino or Austerlitz would be up there, yeah. And then Zama, Scipio Africanus, Battle of Zama is fucking incredible. Yeah, all good options, and this is why we like Aldous in the chat. And so he's it is the baddest ass move ever, the siege of a siege. Yeah, I mean, Julius Caesar is kind of is an unparalleled genius of military strategy and warfare. But yeah, like there are very few people in ancient Roman history, or even just history in general, that I feel would be able to match the tactical mind of Caesar. Napoleon's on that list. Underrated person that I think actually would give Caesar a run for his money is Marcus Agrippa.
Yeah, nice.
Like, I think that the fact that Agrippa so soundly defeats Antony at Actium is testament that he probably would, like, if there had been some weird fucking thing where Julius Caesar had lived and there was a kind of schism in loyalty between him and Octavian went off and formed his own faction with Agrippa, I think Agrippa could have given Caesar a run for his money. Agrippa was insanely resourceful and was a pretty damn unparalleled military leader. And the fact that he smacked Antony around as well as he did, Antony was Caesar's like right-hand general, effectively his understudy. And while he definitely had a reputation as a philanderer and a party animal, he also had a massive reputation as quite the soldier. And so the fact that Actium isn't even a fight, they just get fucking demolished by Agrippa. And Antony's got all the advantage on that. He's got an Egyptian fleet that knows what they're doing. Agrippa's got a fleet that he literally trained in a self-made pond.
It's beautiful.
Like, so freaking cool. And Agrippa, and that's not even the first victory he has with these guys. Like, he trains up this fleet in like a dam effect. Like they build a lake in the Italian peninsula because Pompey Magnus's son is committing acts of piracy and attacking the grain shipment. So you can't go train out in the sea to go and be able to match this guy. You have to train, you have to be creative. And so Agrippa freaking builds a lake to train a navy, to build and train a navy. And they go out there and they beat Pompey's son. And then they beat it. And then they beat Antony at Actium. It's ridiculous.
That's why you tune in, folks. That was incredible.
But yeah, so I have been studying more of the later periods because and I can't remember where I saw this, but I think it's the perfect thing when it comes down to Roman history is it's an iceberg, right? Everyone gets drawn in by the late Republic and the beginning of the Imperial Age, right? Which, while people talk about like Augustus is the first emperor, the Imperial Age of Rome began in the Punic Wars. The end of the Punic Wars saw Rome expanding its territories, and within 40 years you have the Marian reforms, and they're pushing it's offense is a good defense is the cover story of every Roman general. It's like, oh well, if we don't expand our borders and take care of these barbarians, they'll come and take care of us. It's the excuse everyone gives for casus belli. But in reality, like, everybody just wants more territory so they can get the spoils of war and add it to their own coffers. So the imperial period really does begin in this fall of this decline of the Republic, going in through, the Marian Sulla civil wars, the Pompeian Caesarian civil wars, the war of the Second Triumvirate, right? Like all of these things kind of lead into the birth of the empire, as it were. And so people see all of that, and they see the iconic legionary of the first century AD in their Lorica Segmentata, right? And they see all that, and they get drawn in because it's Gladiator. It's all of these things. It's Hollywood's Rome, right? Like that's what they see. But when you really start to study Rome, there's so much more to it than that. There's so much more beneath the surface. I mean, hell, even when you're looking at, what we understand of the pre-Republican Rome is basically freaking mythology, man. It was like the most prominent history that we have. Professor Hayteen says no, it's Asterix's Rome. That would be late Republican Rome, Professor Hayteen. But
Also a very
the most comprehensive pre-Republican Rome document that we have, like a document that describes the pre-Republican Rome, is Livy's History of Rome. And guess who commissioned that? Augustus. It was all a part of his takeover of the Roman Empire and tapping into the cultural DNA of his people. And he made very sure, made damn sure that Livy frames the narrative of these kings of Rome, these first two especially. These first two kings, you have Romulus and Numa Pompilius, and he makes them mirror Caesar and Augustus, because Augustus is Julius Caesar's biological son. Not biological, is his son by will, right? Like when Julius Caesar died, he ceased being Gaius Octavian Caesar, and he became Gaius Julius Caesar. And as Augustus, like that was his whole thing, was like he wanted to make sure that there were these direct parallels. Romulus was, the son of Ares, was the warrior king and everything like that. And then Numa, his legacy is establishing the morality culture of Rome, its purity, its connection with the divine. He builds the gates of Janus, and for the first time in over 60 years, Augustus has the gates of Janus closed during his reign. And this is a big deal because the gates of Janus are representative and indicative of, Rome. If Rome is in a state of war, these gates are open. If they're closed, Rome is in a state of peace. And so Augustus, for the first time, he is one of 3 emperors that will have the gates of Janus closed during his, not even emperors, 3 ruling people of Rome that will have the gates of Janus closed during his reign. And to that point, he builds new gates of Janus because nobody knows where the original ones are. They got torn down.
That's great.
So he renovates the gates of Janus. And so all of this stuff is a way to tether his legacy subconsciously to that of Numa in the eyes of his people. It's incredible. The guy is a master propagandist. But as I said, there's so much stuff to look at when it comes down to Rome, and really the military exploits of people like Gaius Julius Caesar, the philosophy king of the philosopher emperor of Marcus Aurelius, or even the military conquest of Trajan. They are just the tip of the iceberg, and there's so much to appreciate and absorb when it comes down to Roman history. And I think it's this whole thing, this whole TikTok fad, it's a joke, right? And we all know it's a joke, and there are definitely people who are probably recording talking about this just to be silly. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I really hope it does is it gets people to realize just how influential Rome has been, and actually get the chance to go and listen to people talk about Rome, read some of these books that are coming out, and I realize that that's fucking wishful thinking. people barely have the attention span to watch a TikTok reel, let alone read a chapter of a fucking history book, right? But I do hope that in this jokey little trend, which is fantastic and I adore it, but from this jokey little trend, I really hope that the people who are genuinely curious as to, well, why are these guys thinking about this, that they go back and they look at Rome and really come to appreciate just what it accomplished, not even from the standpoint of how massive its empire was, but the influence it has had on modern culture and how it is still palpable. The empire is gone, but Rome is eternal.
Wow. Yeah.
Like,
well said. Yeah, I think a lot of people have been exposed to some interesting, a lot of funny TikTok videos, but a lot of, in a way, it's funny because a lot of the men are already thinking about it in an interesting and serious way, and as you can see, there's a lot of reasons for that.
Yeah, 100%.
Ask your significant other how often they think about the Seljuk Turkish Empire or something.
100%. And so, like, before we close off with our, like, I've got a fun joke video. That's one more clip from these TikTok reels, but I did some fun editing. I'm going to read probably one of my favorite things ever written about Rome, written by Rome's last general, the last Roman general, I should say, Belisarius. And so, to give some context, during the second Italian campaign, Belisarius tries to relieve Rome, but because his subordinates are idiots and don't listen to him, he ends up having to go bail them out of trouble. And so he's unable to relieve the city of the siege. And so Totila, the new leader of the Goths there, is about to is looking to destroy the city. And so Belisarius comes to his city's defense once more and successfully sways Totila to leave the city alone, protects it with words. And this is what he wrote, according to Procopius. While the creation of beauty in a city which has not been beautiful before could only proceed from men of wisdom who understand the meaning of civilization, the destruction of beauty which already exists would be naturally expected only of men who lack understanding and who are not ashamed to leave the posterity this token of their character. Now, among all the cities under the sun, Rome is agreed upon to be the greatest and most noteworthy. For it has not been created by the ability of one man, nor has it attained such greatness and beauty by a power of short duration, but a multitude of monarchs, many companies of the best men, a great lapse of time, and an extraordinary abundance of wealth have availed to bring together in that city all other things that in the whole world and skilled workers besides. Thus, little by little, they have built the city, such as you behold it, thereby leaving to future generations memorials of the ability of them all. So that insult to these monuments would properly be considered a great crime against the men of all time, for by such actions the men of former generations are robbed of the memorials of their ability, and future generations of the sight of their works. Such then is the facts of the case. Be well assured of this, that one of two things must necessarily take place. Either you will be defeated by the emperor in this struggle, or, should it so fall out, you will triumph over him. Now, in the first place, supposing you are victorious, if you should dismantle Rome, you would not have destroyed the possession of some other man, but your own city, excellent sir. And on the other hand, if you preserve it, you will naturally enrich yourself by a possession of the fairest of all. But if in the second place, if you should perchance fall to your lotto experience the worst fortune in saving Rome, you would be assured of abundant gratitude on the part of the victor. But by destroying the city, you will make it certain that no plea for mercy will any longer be left for you. And in addition to this, you will have reaped no benefit from the deed. Furthermore, a reputation that corresponds with your conduct will be portion among all men, and it stands to wait for you according to you decide the other way. For the quality of the acts of rulers determines of necessity the quality of the repute which they win from their acts. So,
what's epic?
With that being said, really quickly, Judex is in demand currently, but we closed down the campaign. We had a very successful end with over 12K. I think I mentioned that last week. For those of you who are in the chat that are looking for a good read, give me a second, because Kyrie Volume 3 is still in demand, and you can still get the epic, the Book 3 Epic Edition, which is the one that you want. You want this, and if you if you want more, if you haven't read books 1 and 2, the annotated 1 and 2 are delightful. They are absolutely outstanding. You could also get all 3 books for $75. And Matt is an incredible artist with an obscene amount of range. And he's also a pretty damn good writer as well. I've read every single one of these books. I adore them. I recently reread 3. Still love it. And yeah, please make sure that you check this out. There's no reason why this shouldn't be a bit higher. And
Don't say it. Don't say it.
If Professor Hayteen is in the chat, he has the ability for you to purchase all 3 books digitally. Because I know you're in Canada, and that the shipping rates are crazy. And Wild Tales is available on the campaign too. That is a fantastic anthology and is absolutely worth the purchase. I am very happy with my Wild Tales.
I do have it down to 20. I think it's $22 to Canada. But
either way,
still.
Point is, we are wrapping up, and with that being said, let's get our silly thing for the best of these little YouTube clips. Here we go.
How often do you think about the Roman Empire? You don't think of the Roman Empire?
I never stop.
You never stop!
How can you apply on to something that is eternal?
The Roman Empire.
Rome is eternal. Glory is forever. These are the ideas that make men famous.
Follow-up question. Is it the same as the Holy Roman Empire?
No. You will not mention that accursed thing in this household.
I don't know if you're joking. I look like the face of a psychopath.